How do we account for the myriad of unusual events that happen in our lives? Does God actually intervene? Are there depths or levels of His intervention? Aren't we actually asking God to intervene in something every time we pray? Shouldn't that too be considered divine intervention? On the other hand, many people like myself met their wife or spouse in a once-in-a-lifetime moment, a chance encounter that could not have happened at any other time. On a scale of life and death, others have failed to board an airplane that crashed because it was stuck in traffic. Did God stop all that traffic just to save one life? Less noticeable might be how life could have drastically changed had you gone to the game with your friend or taken your normal route home, but you didn't. Whatever the reason, there are many monumental or abnormal times when life suddenly changes. The question is, how much was God involved in it? The reality is, on many occasions, we might not notice God was involved at all. On other occasions, we can't stop giving God thanks for what He did. God does act in mysterious ways. After all, isn't every act of God, as well as every miracle, part of the mystery of divine intervention? Divine intervention.
A Missouri couple is thankful to be alive and recovering in our metro after surviving a small plane crash in southeast Iowa earlier this month.
Craig Comstock remembers everything that happened on Sunday, July 9th, when his single-engine plane crashed shortly after taking off from the Corydon Airport.
As we took off, I got about 200 feet off the ground, and I realized that there was a problem.
Craig, who's had his pilot's license for 15 years, had to think quick and remembered something he had read in aviation magazines.
One of the best places in that scenario to set a plane down is in a grove of trees.
So that's exactly what Craig did.
About 30, 40 seconds out after I'd made that decision, I said a prayer. I said, "Dear Lord, please let Mary, my wife, walk away from this." And then I turned to Mary before impact and I said, "I'm sorry, sweetie." And then we hit the trees.
Craig tells me, he says, "I'm really sorry, sweetie. Here comes the trees." And I personally thought, this is it.
But it wasn't.
Go through the trees, flap, 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 all those. And then we stop, and I realized I was alive. You know, I had blood on my leg and my arm was messed up.
Grateful to have survived the impact of the crash, Craig and Mary turned their attention to the next danger facing them.
Then we smelled the fuel and we heard the fuel running out the wings. And that was a scary moment because then I thought, okay, great, we made it this far. Now we're going to burn up in this thing.
She was able to get out to the ground, and we realized that there was fuel still flowing out of the broken wings onto the ground for quite some time, and I'm thinking, okay, Lord, this is it. I had resigned myself to the fact that I was going to burn up in a post-crash fire.
But thanks to the help of first responders and doctors, divine intervention, a new chapter is just beginning for Craig and Mary Comstock.
I told the surgeons here at the hospital that fixed me back up, I said, "You guys are wonderful at putting back together things that you can see, but I'm here to tell you, the creator of the universe worked behind the scenes putting together things that you can't see."
Craig and Mary say they believe God has a purpose for them. They're not sure what it is yet, but they believe that's the reason they survived a plane crash, and they're expected to fully recover from their injuries. Aaron?
Finally, one woman's guardian angel. Take a look at this incredible video. You can see her struggle to cross the tracks. There's a guy from New Jersey. He comes racing towards her. His name is Joe Mango. He leaves his car, he sprints to her side, and he pulls her away. Look at that, with seconds to spare. She was taken to the hospital as a precaution. Joe insists he is not a hero. He says he saw something needed to be done, and he did it.
Divine intervention.
began as a regular Uber pickup wound up being a life-saving opportunity for the driver. Jen Holloway joins us now live from the Sunshine Skyway, where one man's quick thinking prevented a real tragedy. Jen?
You know, Jen, taking the time to listen and truly understand somebody's personal pain, it's not a typical requirement of an Uber driver, but one man did, Chad Farley, and in doing so, he saved a stranger's life. Call it compassion behind the wheel.
The Bible says a broken spirit, who can bear that? You know, and that's what he was, a broken spirit.
Chad Farley says he instantly knew his passenger was in pain.
This guy was obviously in trouble. He was obviously in trouble. But this guy was just told that he got brain cancer.
His request was to be dropped off at the top of the Skyway Bridge, some 200 feet above the water. But instead, Farley pulled into the Skyway's North Pier parking area and began to pray with his passenger.
What surprised me is when I completed my prayer, he started praying, but his prayer was very awkward, jumbled, and he didn't know what to say, but it was like he was trying. And talk about a broken spirit, you know.
But before the man got out, Farley made a very smart decision.
Then I said, you know what, I want to remember you. So can I take a picture?
And with one quick click,
I took the picture and he gave me a peace sign and I gave him a smile. And
as the troubled young man walked towards the water, Farley called 911. And within minutes, 2 troopers arrived just in time to save his life. Farley firmly believes everyone was in the right place at the right time by the grace of God.
Like a chess piece, chessboard, he put everybody in their place to be used to do his will. And the end result, the guy's alive. That's it. That's...
This video shows 8-year-old Ryan Kim playing in the water on a beach in Hawaii. His grandfather gestures to him to get out. But when the boy tries to leave the water, the waves suck him back in. For a few seconds, Ryan's mother, Yura, and his grandfather struggled to reach him. That's when Christopher Tuncap raced in to help.
The minute I saw the second wave come, that's when I got up and I started sprinting.
Tuncap says lifeguards had already left Sunset Beach, a place known for its big wave surfing during the winter.
I dive in right when he disappeared, and I was just so scared because I'm not only thinking about saving him, but what's going to happen if I get dragged in.
Other bystanders join in, but struggle with the crashing waves and strong current. Finally, Ryan is carried to safety.
I thought that maybe my son will die. Everything turned to the white, and everything turned to like heaven.
Yura says her son swallowed a lot of water, but was otherwise okay.
I'd like to say thank you, and I'd like to express my gratitude to them.
Divine intervention. Divine intervention.
This is dash camera video from Ryan Ciampoli, a licensed EMT and volunteer firefighter for Crawford County. You can see he's driving down Highway 65 in Harrison when the back door of that bus flings open. Hanging onto it is a 4-year-old girl. She falls to the pavement and the bus continues to drive away. Ciampoli immediately jumped into action.
Obviously you want to leave her laying there, you know, if she's not in danger, but we're in the middle of a state highway, so I couldn't leave her just laying there.
Ciampoli says she was unconscious at first, but started to wake up when he approached her. He picked her up and carried her off the road, where they laid her on a truck bed in a nearby parking lot and got to work keeping her conscious and checking her vitals.
Once the adrenaline and the shock kicked in her little body, she started kicking and screaming and, you know, where's my mommy and things like that. So stuff like that's really heartbreaking.
It took about 5 minutes for paramedics to get to the scene and transport the child to the hospital. Her mother tells 4029 News she has a broken jaw and will need surgery, but is expected to be okay. Ciampoli was in the right place at the right time.
And never would you think driving down the road that something like that would happen.
On the road to Biloxi, Mississippi, a stray car hits a massive truck and a fiery explosion rains over the road.
Holy cow. guy's dead, dude.
This footage was captured by David Fredrickson's dash cam.
What are you gonna do?
Focusing.
Got a fire extinguisher. How do you use it?
He stopped his truck and immediately got out to help. He ran towards the burning car and, to his surprise, he saw a little girl's head pop out of the back window. He got to the front door and saw the immovable body of an old woman. Somehow managing to open the door as others arrived, David and a group of Good Samaritans saved the little girl and presumably her grandmother. David later told reporters that he believes he was put at the scene by God.
A local coach is home after fighting for his life in the hospital. Now the coach is speaking out to 4029's Brett Rains about why he believes he's still alive tonight. It's new.
Coach Brian Sims was in the hospital since April. At times, he was in critical condition on life support and undergoing surgery about once a week. Now, Coach Sims is home, and he's crediting the power of your prayers for helping heal him. Late last night, people lined the street and cheered as Coach Brian Sims finally came home from the hospital.
It was awesome. I mean, just the support I have from the community has just been unreal. I mean, it's been great. It's helped me get through all this.
The offensive line coach and head track coach was battling Stevens-Johnson syndrome and toxic epidermal necrolysis, a severe skin reaction to medication that left most of his body covered in painful blisters as if he'd been burned. At several times, he was near death.
I never thought it would come to where I'm at now. A lot of it, especially the worst parts, I don't even remember.
Pretty much every complication that you could get, he had. Renal failure, respiratory failure. We knew we would eventually get home from Tulsa, but at more than one point we were afraid that he might not be with us.
Thousands of people across the country and across the world prayed for Sims to live. And while often his diagnosis is fatal, this time it was not. Sims gives credit to God, his doctors, and the power of your prayers.
That's one reason I think I pulled through all this.
And I would get messages on Facebook and they would say, you know, I felt a strong need to get up and pray. You know, it would be in the middle of the night at 1 or 2. And it would be in a moment that we were in a life-threatening situation.
The road to recovery will not be easy, but today, Sims is glad to be home with his family.
Well, a family celebrating what they're calling a miracle.
It really is. A husband on dialysis for 1.5 years after his kidneys stopped working. Then getting word from doctors last week, his kidneys started working again.
I know. Kelly Rinke joins us from the newsroom with a WATE 6 on Your Side spotlight. Kelly, you spoke with a couple about their good news. I can't even imagine how they're feeling right now.
Yeah, well, of course they're shocked, but really so happy. Doctors told the husband, Danny, that if he was on dialysis for more than 6 months, so there really was no chance that his kidneys would work again. But that didn't stop the Terrys from giving up hope. Danny Terry and his wife Linda are relaxing and enjoying a summer day in Maryville, something they haven't done in a while.
We didn't think it was anything real serious. We thought it was just cold because he had upper respiratory.
But it was serious for Danny, spending most of the last 1.5 years at UT Medical Center.
Come to find out he had congestive heart failure and kidney failure.
A man who had never been to the hospital, now on dialysis and the transplant list for a kidney.
People come visit me, I didn't know them. That's how sick I was.
Linda then gets advice to post on social media, asking if anyone felt called to donate a kidney. 5 people from church offer.
People to offer to give me a kidney, it means a lot.
But to their disappointment, none of them are a match.
Our preacher said, don't lose hope.
A glimmer of hope came. A few months ago, Danny starts to feel a little bit better, so doctors run a test.
They called back and said, you don't have to do dialysis anymore. Your kidneys are working.
And then this week, doctors say something else unprecedented. Danny doesn't need to be on the transplant list anymore.
She said, I'm so happy for you, because she said, it just doesn't. She kept saying, smiling, just saying, this doesn't happen.
Why me?
Yeah, but God had a reason.
Thinking the reason is to inspire others to not give up hope.
Maybe this will touch somebody and, you know, maybe there's somebody else out there that will get hope from it.
Thank you for watching. We would like to thank our viewers and subscribers for watching our videos. We appreciate all the encouragement and feedback. This channel really means so much to us. Our prayers are with you all. Please support Shattered Paradise by purchasing a t-shirt from our shop, Apparel Dime, on Spreadshirt.com. Now you can wear your faith on your sleeve. The shop features faith-based t-shirts for men, women, and kids. The link is in the description below. Thank you, and God bless.